Okay, 6 on the nose here. Might as well go ahead and call the meeting to order. And I think we were going to kick off with a roll call. I believe Scott was going to head that up. Oops, Scott, I think you're muted.
Thank you, Councilmember Martin. Yes, I'll take roll call here. It looks like folks are trickling in, so we'll get started, and I'll backfill folks as I see them arrive. To start, Mayor Reagan Gonzalez. Councilmember Supple.
Here, sorry.
I'm here.
Councilmember Hayford O'Leary. Councilmember Troutman. Councilmember Whalen.
Here.
Mayor Bussey. Councilmember Lohman. Councilmember Nelson.
Here.
Councilmember D'Alessandro. And Councilmember Martin.
I'm here.
Councilmember Carter.
Here.
And Councilmember Coulter. All right. I did see Councilmember Hayford O'Leary slip on. I do believe we have a quorum.
Excellent. Thank you, Scott. So just real quick, I know we've got some new faces on the call here from when we met what feels like a million years ago back in March of 2021. And so maybe we'll just start with a quick round of introductions, your role, how long you've been in that position, either staff or elected, and feel free to just kind of jump in. Maybe we'll start with our Richfield friends.
Sorry, I missed that. Anyways, I'm just doing the admin side of things here. My name's Scott Colzer, City of Richfield Public Works. Happy to be here. So I'll pass it off to Councilmember Supple.
Hi, my name is Mary Supple. It's my 3rd year on the Richfield Council, and I'll pass it on to Councilmember Whalen.
Ben Whalen, East Side of Richfield Council member, also 3 years, and I'll pass it on to Councilmember Hayford O'Leary.
Sean Hayford O'Leary. I just finished my 1st year on the Richfield City Council, and I represent Ward 2. I will pass it to our mayor.
Hey everyone, Maria Regan Gonzalez, 3rd year as mayor and 5th year serving on the Richfield City Council. I'll pass it to our city manager, Katie Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mayor. Katie Rodriguez, city manager, and I am just entering my 4th year. Oh, and I got to pass it off. I will pass it off on to Jordan.
Hey everybody, Jordan Venice, Water Resources Engineer, just within my 1st year here. So first RBWMO meeting, happy to be here. I will pass it off to Kristen Asher.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Kristen Asher, the Public Works Director for Richfield, and I've been here almost 17 years, and I think this is probably my 15th RBWMO meeting. And I don't know if Councilmember Troutman introduced himself yet, but I see him on.
Hey everybody, Councilmember Simon Troutman, and this stormy night reminds me of the first Watershed Management District meeting we attended, where Michael Howard was 2 minutes late and found himself the president of the Watershed Management District for being a minute late. Now, thankfully, we have Zoom, so we can't do that as easily. And I'm not sure where we started. Councilmember Whalen, have you introduced yourself?
Yeah, I think Chris Swanson, if you want to introduce yourself.
I'll jump on. Chris Swanson, management analyst. I've been working for the city of Richfield for 4 months. And Carrie, I think you're the last one.
Well, I wasn't really expecting to talk. I was just here to hang out and see you guys. I am Carrie Sinning. I am the city clerk. I actually just recently became city clerk in May of 2021. But before that, I was deputy city clerk since 2016.
Excellent. Was there any other Richfield folks? that covered the bases. Excellent. Well, I guess on the Bloomington side, Patrick Martin, I represent District 4, which is kind of the east side of town. And this will be the start of my second term, so year 5. And I'll kick it over to Councilmember Carter.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jenna Carter, and I am an at-large member for the city of Bloomington. And this is I'm in the middle of the beginning of my 3rd year on council. And I will pass it over to Councilmember Nelson. You're on mute, Sean.
I'll get this figured out someday. So, Sean Nelson, District 2, the southwest portion of Bloomington is where I live and represent the people. So I'll throw it over to Brian.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Brian Greedle. I am the Water Resources Manager for the City of Bloomington, and I've been in this position for, gosh, I don't know, a while. And similar to Kristen, this is probably about my 10th RBWMO meeting. And I've been serving as the Executive Director this year. So I will pass it off to Jack Distel.
Hello, I'm Jack Distel. I am the city's Water Resources Specialist, and I'm just over 2 years at the city. And I will pass it on to Julie.
Julie Long, Bloomington City Engineer for 3 years, and I'll throw it to Carl.
So I'm Carl Keel. I'm the Public Works Director, and I've been here about 15 years. And I think that takes care of everybody on the Bloomington side.
All right, terrific. Well, thank you all so much for making time tonight. We will get through some items here so the Richfield folks can get their meeting. Second item on the agenda here is approval of the minutes from our March meeting. You all should have received those, had a chance to take a look. Are there any changes to those that need to be made? All right, terrific. Do I hear a motion to approve those?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes. Mayor Regan-Gonzalez.
So thank you, Mayor. And do we have a second?
I'll second. Councilmember Supple.
All right. And I'm guessing this is going to need to be a roll call vote. Scott, are you going to be taking care of this as well?
Correct, Councilmember. There'll be quite a few roll calls, unfortunately, so I'll just rattle them off. Mayor Regan-Gonzalez.
Here.
Councilmember Supple.
Aye.
Councilmember Hayford O'Leary.
Aye.
Councilmember Troutman.
Aye.
Councilmember Whalen.
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson.
Aye.
Councilmember Martin.
Aye.
Councilmember Carter.
Aye.
And Councilmember Coulter.
Okay, with that, I think the ayes have pretty handled it. Minutes have been approved. We'll move on to item number 3, review and approval of the agenda. Anybody have any things to do? Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved, Councilmember Whalen.
Thank you. And second?
Second, Councilmember Nelson.
Excellent.
All right, Mayor Regan-Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilmember Supple.
Aye.
Councilmember Hayford O'Leary.
Aye.
Councilmember Troutman.
Aye.
Councilmember Whalen.
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson.
Aye.
Councilmember Martin. Councilmember Carter.
Aye.
And Councilmember Coulter. The ayes have it.
Excellent. Thanks, Scott. So with the agenda approved, we'll move on to election of officers for 2022 here. It looks like we're starting off with the chair, which will need to be somebody from over in Richfield. Do we have a motion to, we'll go through these one at a time here. We'll just get everybody nominated and then vote. Do we have a motion to nominate somebody to be chair for next year? It's really fun, I promise. I'll tell you from experience.
I'll nominate Councilmember Hayford O'Leary.
Councilmember Troutman, I would be delighted to second that nomination.
Okay. Councilmember Whalen, do you accept that nomination?
Councilmember Hayford O'Leary.
I believe it was Hayford
Yeah.
O'Leary.
Oh, Councilmember Hayford
I
O'Leary.
feel strongly, but yes, I accept it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so moving on to vice chair, looks like somebody from Bloomington. Do we have a motion to nominate somebody on the Bloomington?
I would nominate Councilmember Carter.
You just beat me to it.
We can't have two people named Sean as chair and vice chair. It'd be very confusing.
I will second that nomination. Councilmember Carter, does that sound good?
That sounds good.
Okay. Moving on to secretary, needs to come from Wilmington. Do I hear a motion to nominate somebody from Wilmington secretary?
I would nominate Councilmember Coulter.
I'll second that nomination as well. And I am sure he is looking forward to serving.
Yes.
Okay, doke. And how about treasurer from Richfield? Do I hear a motion for a nomination?
Nominate Councilmember Supple.
All right. Do we have a second on that?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mayor. And Councilmember Supple, does it sound good with you? Perfect, thank you. Okay, so with those motions and seconds being made, I think we just jump right to the roll call vote for this slate.
All right. Mayor Reagan Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilmember Supple,
Aye.
Councilmember Hayford O'Leary,
Aye.
Councilmember Troutman,
Aye.
Councilmember Whalen,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Martin.
Aye.
And Councilmember Carter.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much, everybody, for being willing to step up. Moving along, approval of the 2021 staff appointments. This will be a motion for each appointment, and then we'll go after each of these individually. So do I hear a motion to appoint as executive director Brian Riedel from?
So move Supple.
Second, Nelson.
Thank you. And we can jump into the vote on Brian.
Mayor Reagan Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilmember Supple,
Aye.
Councilmember Hayford O'Leary,
Aye.
Councilmember Troutman,
Aye.
Councilmember Whalen, Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Martin.
Aye.
And Councilmember Carter.
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you, Scott, and thank you, Brian, for serving. And we'll move right into, do I hear a motion to appoint as assistant director Jordan Venice from?
So moved, Mayor Reagan Gonzalez.
I'll second Councilmember Whalen.
Thank you both.
All right. Mayor Reagan Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilmember Supple,
Aye.
Councilmember Hayford O'Leary,
Aye.
Councilmember Troutman,
Aye.
Councilmember Whalen,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Martin, and Councilmember Carter.
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you, Scott. Moving on to item number 6, I've got the 2021 Executive Director's Report. Brian, I think we're going to
All right, let me see if I can get this going here. All right, it tells me that you're seeing it. Is it true? All right. So I guess thank you for the meeting this evening. And So before we get started, I just wanted to acknowledge, I guess, the help that Jordan has provided the RBWMO this year. So as you may recall, we had a different Patrick Martin who was also on staff last year who moved on to a different organization. And so Jordan has stepped in and helped fill that void. Additionally, Jack Distel is also on the meeting tonight and has been primarily responsible for administering our grant that we got for the RBWMO Youth Education Program, which he'll be talking about in a little bit. And last but not least, I also wanted to acknowledge that Steve Christopher, the board conservationist with Bowser, is also on the call with us tonight and can shed a little light on the watershed-based implementation funding programs that we've been working on. So without further ado, I will kind of walk us through the director's report here. For those newer to the staff, go over a couple of introductory things, I guess. So in 1982, the Minnesota legislature adopted legislation that required all the land within the metro area to be within a water management organization. And so there was land in both Richfield and Bloomington that wasn't previously covered by a watershed district, whether that be 9 Mile Creek or Lower Man or Minnehaha. And so the establishment of the WMO was sought by both cities. In 1984, that final agreement and bylaws were adopted and the organization was formed, hence the Richfield-Bloomington Watershed Management Organization. It comprises an area of about 7.5 square miles, including a portion of Richfield and an eastern portion of Bloomington. So the staff of the RBWMO continues to be the staff of each member city, handling stormwater, drainage, surface water issues within their respective boundaries. Both cities act as the LGU for the Wetland Conservation Act. So both Richfield and Bloomington have stormwater utility funds for expenses that are related to stormwater management, and costs for RBWMO are split between the two cities, such as insurance and any consultant fees. So the RBWMO has no actual expenditures as an organization, the way that it's set up. So, and in 2021, the two cities combined to spend about $7 million in stormwater utility funds to manage surface waters citywide. We've identified a technical advisory committee. And that group met earlier in December of 21. And so we meet to discuss our approaches on stormwater, on a lot of development projects, review our activities, as well as other enforcement topics. We've also identified our community advisory commissions. And these commissions are engaged with water resource projects within the RBWMO boundary. And at times, both cities have held their annual stormwater meetings as part of the CAC's regular meetings. We also operate a water quality monitoring program looking at surface waters. These water bodies shown on the map here have been monitored annually since 2010. And so we're continuing to monitor them. They are monitored on a monthly basis with grab samples during the summer months. Here's a chart of Smith Park Pond, has been monitored since 2009, and over the last 3 years has really yielded some higher total phosphorus readings than we have experienced in the past. So we'll be continuing to look at this as we move forward. The 2021 activity. So as I mentioned earlier, we have been working on several watershed-based implementation funding type things. So the fiscal year 18-19 led to the Hennepin County Chloride Initiative, which I'll talk about more here in a little bit, and also the Minnesota River Basin group, which is a group of sub-watersheds within Hennepin County that got together to further the Chloride Initiative. So fiscal year 2020 and 2021 led to our youth education program, which I'll let Jack talk about here in a minute. We're also primarily interested or active in education and outreach within the RBWMO, so we participate in the Adopted Drain program. We also have surface water quality monitoring that we talked about, website maintenance and updates, and we've also been active in the 494 discussions revolving around drainage. So basically for the area just east of I-35 and further to the east, that's where RBWMO is involved, and then kind of the west of the western side of the project then is within 9 Mile Creek. So there have been several collaborative meetings discussing drainage with MnDOT staff. Also, Christensen Pond, the excavation was performed during the winter of 2021, along with the installation of a new outlet control structure, and restoration of that project was then completed in the spring. Both cities continue to be the LGU for the Wetland Conservation Act related responsibilities. We do sediment and erosion control inspections for private development sites. And we did have one WACA action within the RBWMO this year for a boundary survey for Sheridan Pond, which is another pond looking at some maintenance related activity on it. Moving forward here into 2022, looking at finishing up some of this watershed-based implementation funding work that we've been working on, as well as maintaining the website, continuing with our water quality. And then we've, as I mentioned, a lot of the work that the RBWMO does and is laid out in our implementation section of our plan revolves around education and outreach. And so with some changes in the clean water funding policy, we do have a need to kind of reevaluate that to ensure that that we have some projects that qualify for some grant funding, as well as continuing to work towards engaging with the youth. We'll continue with the I-494 project, as well as moving forward with a Sheridan Pond maintenance project. Any questions, I guess, on that first part? Okay, hearing none, I will continue to move on. I guess at this point, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the watershed-based implementation funding and what we've been doing with that. But Steve, if I stop sharing my screen here, do you want to say a few things about the upcoming, or about WBIF and Bowser's, how Bowser's working it?
Yeah, I can provide kind of an overview of the kind of 3 fiscal year groupings that we've had within the metro area. And the first grant that likely Brian will talk about with the Hennepin County Chloride Initiative, that was issued on a countywide basis. So the RBWMO, both of the cities participated within Hennepin County to determine how the allocation would work and which activities to fund. And those activities came out of the Watershed District and Watershed Management Organization watershed management plans. And so the RBWMO is participating in both the Hennepin County Chloride Initiative as well as that Lower Minnesota River Initiative, which ends up being about $200,000. And that's really to kind of focus in a little bit more on getting those best management practices delivered and providing a cost share to the people that can upgrade their equipment. The countywide initiative is more of a fact finding, but also a education process that we're going through to determine whether or not BMPs can be feasible within the area to remove chlorides. So that's kind of how the first year or the first round of funding ended up working. And then we shifted to a major watershed basis. So the RBWMO and both of the cities participated within the Lower Minnesota major watershed, and we split that into a north-south basis. And within that grant, the RBWMO is participating in the youth education program. Now, as we move forward into the fiscal year 22-23, which the funds are available as of July 1st of this year, we are further reducing the size of the area for the partnership, and it's going to be distributed on a small watershed basis. So we are looking at distributing to the watershed planning area of the RBWMO. And we've set allocation amounts with a minimum amount. So even though the RBWMO is a very small area, it will still be receiving $75,000 to allocate out towards eligible projects. So the participants within that decision making will be the RBWMO in both of the cities, and then Bowser will also be a participant but a non-voting member to help assist with it. And Brian a little bit alluded to this. One of the changes that we did have within our policy for this program is that one of the ineligible activities is development and delivery of educational activities and curriculum that do not support or lead to the implementation of water quality practices. So it's a little bit of a tweak in the language just to make sure that we are seeing clean water funds being distributed for improvements in water resources. So it'll probably take a couple extra steps in order to get there as far as finding the activities within the plan, or we may need to do some additional changes within the plan in order to amend it to add those activities. I'll turn it back over to you, Brian.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate that. Okay. So, as Steve mentioned, the first year, the fiscal year 18 and 19, led to the Hennepin County Chloride Initiative. And so some of the grant activities to date on that include outreach and research efforts, smart salting and property management workshops, as well as development of some chloride management templates for property owners, which are currently being piloted. Some things still going on include involvement with the Parker's Lake Chloride Reduction Project. Parker's Lake is a lake out in Plymouth, and so they're looking at different land uses and potential for BMP implementation that can be used basically across Hennepin County. And then we have just initiated a effort on a media campaign with a consultant in order to develop some additional chloride education work. So the pandemic kind of threw a little bit of a hitch into this one, and so Bowser has granted an extension, and so this work is looking to be completed here by the end of this year. So as part of that, the Minnesota River Basin subgroup kind of spun off of that. So just under $200,000 available for cost share grants. To date, we have funded like 3 different projects. So there's still a little bit over $100,000 remaining out there. So cities and private applicators are all eligible. So if you have some chloride reduction projects or know of people that work in the industry, have them contact us. We'd love to talk to them. And let's see. So then we had the 2020-21 Watershed-Based Implementation Funding Program, and this is where the RBWMO was awarded a $30,000 grant. And for the RBWMO Youth Education Program, and I'm gonna turn it over to Jack to talk about it. And Jack, if you just wanna let me know when you're ready for the slide to advance, I will click it forward for you.
Great, thank you, Brian. You can go ahead and, get to that slide. So in 2021, we received a grant from Bowser for our education program. This was in partnership with the Minnesota Valley Refuge Friends. They're a local nonprofit. I'm going to generally refer to them just as the Friends. And they came to us looking to do a education program, and it fit well into our goals to do community education and outreach. So we pursued it. And go ahead, Brian, you can go to the next slide. The program itself, we were awarded $30,000. It has a 5% required local match. And that was based off about $75 per student. That came out to about 400 students is our goal. And we contracted, the city of Bloomington specifically, contracted with the Friends to carry out the program. So some of the tasks like finding busing, volunteers, and then they have a contract with a professional educator who is the one who put together the curriculum and carries out the curriculum for the program. When we were going through the goals and based off of the requirements of the education funding, we had to have measurable outputs for the program. So our program goals were to increase knowledge, increase confidence, and increase ability. And we can go into the results of that in a little bit. But the major idea is for 4th or 5th graders, we would present them a curriculum that would end with, increased knowledge so they would know more about watersheds and basic hydraulic principles, but also knowing that they could go out and be a change maker for water quality as they grow older, influence their parents and so on, and then teaching them things that they can do in their lives to ensure that they can make change. Go ahead to the next slide, Brian. So in 2021, we kicked it off. We partnered with Bloomington School District, and we partnered with their summer school program, which was particularly convenient because of the pandemic. A lot of things had been indoors for quite a while. And so we were able to have outdoor classroom teaching, and we did 5-hour sessions where our educator would go to the site and teach the classes. The friends purchased some of the equipment that we use, and that included things like little nets so they can collect invertebrates and printouts. Each student would get a certificate that would say so-and-so is a water steward. They passed this course. And they could take that home with them, and some handout information for things they can do for their action steps that they could decide on as being a steward. And this also included all the busing to the field trip. So after the course is taught, the students are taken to the Minnesota River Valley. We've been hosting it at the renovated Old Cedar Avenue Bridge site, and they had a lot of really good things to say about that site. It's pretty new, so that was pretty good. And it gave the students access to the water and got to put their skills to the test. So this particular program cost us about $12,000. And that included some of the initial upfront costs of creating the curriculum that will be carried on to future class sessions, and some of the administrative costs that were required just to hash out some of those beginning steps. But it is still pretty close to on budget for about $75 per student. The 2021 program, there was a little bit of flux with how many students would come in and out of the summer school program, but it was about 103 students in total completed the program. And so you can go ahead to the next slide. So as I said, one of the main goals of the program is to increase knowledge, and there was 3 subcategories in that, and it was basic understanding of a watershed, understanding how water interacts with the environment, and understanding water stewardship. And so we conducted a knowledge test before and after. It's the exact same test on the students to get a before and after impact assessment. And some of the questions we asked were like, where does water in storm drains go? Or how can someone be a good water steward? What is a watershed? Some of the harder questions were like, what is a non-point source pollutant? What is a point source pollutant? So it was getting pretty specific with the knowledge test. And go ahead to the next slide. What we found was that, and these results are posted in percent based off the amount of students that took that test of that day, because the numbers don't really line up because there was some flux in how many students were there. But it gives a number of efficacy for how they're answering the questions. So as you can see in the pre-post is the change in people answering. The highlighted lines are the correct answer. In almost every single category, there was a significant increase in percentage of students who answered the question correctly. Question 5 remained the same. Question 5 was, what is a non-point source pollutant, which is a pretty advanced topic for 4th or 5th grade level. So the fact that they didn't quite excel on that one is A-okay in our mindset. It does introduce the topic to them so they can get back later. One of my favorite advancements was question number 2, which was, what is a watershed? And the 3 answers were A, a large building where cities store water, which I thought was tricky. B, the area of land where all the water flows to the same place, the correct answer. And then C, Earth's 4 main oceans, the Atlantic, Pacific, Indian, Arctic. As you see, when they first took it, 37% answered correctly, and then after the course, 63% answered correctly. So those are the kind of impact that we have to show we're making some good change. So go ahead to the next category, or next slide. Two of the other things we tried to assess were increased confidence and increased ability. The way we tried to assess this was in the same test. One of the questions we had was a sliding point scale, and it asked the students to rank how confident they were in being a good water steward. And you can see that in most cases, the majority starts to skew more confident after the end of the program than beforehand. And then the last question was the ability to be a good water steward. And so we tried to assess this question by having the students list out with no qualifications all the ways they could think of about how to be a good water steward, and then we would assess based off individual unique answers provided before and after. And before, we got about 40 unique answers, and after we would get 75. So it did have the students thinking about it more and thinking about how they could do it. So we had really good results in all of the categories. And you can go ahead to the next slide. So in the next act, I'll have Jordan talk about the Richfield's portion that they're working on right now. Bloomington is hoping to do the summer school program again this 2022 season. And then we will assess kind of where the budget stands at that point, but I think it's going pretty well. Jordan, do you want to take over and tell everyone what Richfield's up to?
Yeah, kind of just a quick note. So Richfield STEM, there are 5 fourth grade classes there, currently in their 5th week of the classroom sessions. The teachers are loving the educator. They said the kids are having a great time learning a lot, and they will be planning a field trip for spring. There are 3 other classes at Richfield Dual Language School as well that will be participating. So yeah, excited to hear good feedback from all of them.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. So as I mentioned, you know, in our watershed management plan, the RBWMO has identified engaging with youth as a high priority for education purposes, and so we've had some challenges here in 2020 and 2021, but we have continued to move forward with this, and we will continue to be reevaluating it here this year, especially as how it fits into the funding from the Watershed-Based implementation funding. A couple quick additional things on education outreach. So our 2021 results from the adopted drain. So we only had 23 new participants this year, but they did adopt 41 new drains. So we have a total of 103 participants within the RBWMO who have adopted nearly 200 drains. And in 2021, they reported collecting about 1,200 pounds of debris removed from catch basins. And the reporting, the percent of participants reporting is only about 40%, so that number is likely a little bit higher than that. So that concludes our presentation. Chair Martin, I would look to move on here in the agenda.
Excellent. Thank you, Brian. Was there any, I know we're getting close to time here. Was there any quick questions about the presentation? I can only see a limited selection, so feel free. Councilmember Wing.
Yeah, I was just I thought at the bottom of one slide, it said the funding for the youth education may no longer be available in future years. If staff from either city want to comment on that, and just does that mean after, I think it was after 2023, if we wanted to continue this work, we'd be looking at finding another source of funding?
So we believe that to be correct at this point. So as Steve mentioned, the Clean Water Fund policy has changed a little bit to ensure that projects that create clean water are getting constructed and put in the ground. So the education component has a few more restrictions on it at this point. I wouldn't say that it's totally out of the question, but it may need to be reshaped a little bit, yeah.
Any others? Okay. If I am not mistaken, I think that brings us to.
Jump in quick, sorry.
Yeah, please.
I just wanted to say a huge thank you to our staff for this awesome work. It's so great to hear the important work that you're doing with our youth, with the 5th graders. I was just at Wood Lake Nature Center on Sunday with a group of community members sharing the importance of the role that it plays in our watershed and in the ecosystem overall. And we actually had someone who was an adult, I think a little older than millennial, and he said, I remember coming here and in 5th grade when I was in 5th grade, and the impact that it had on him. And now he still lives in Richfield, and it's a part of his life. And we had other kids that brought their parents to visit Wood Lake as well, because they had gone to it first with their class. So it's so impactful, not just to support our community and learning about the watershed and protecting it, but it's also like this gateway to access the outdoors, the nature, and all the amazing things that we have in our communities. And I get to hear the stories from our residents. So I just want to thank our staff for the work that you're doing and let you know that it is making a difference. And I hear these stories from our students, our kids, our families. That's why they're at Wood Lake, because their kids a lot of times have gone through their 5th grade class, and then they bring everyone else along. So thanks for your work.
Very well said. Thank you for saying that, Mayor. Most definitely. Excellent. So that brings us to consideration of approval of the 2021 annual report. Do I hear a motion to approve that report?
So moved. Carter.
Thank you. And a second?
Second, Nelson.
Excellent. Thank you, Scott.
Mayor Reagan-Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilmember Supple,
Aye.
Councilmember Hayford O'Leary,
Aye.
Councilmember Troutman,
Aye.
Councilmember Whalen,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Martin,
Aye.
and Councilmember Carter.
All right, I think the ayes have it on that one. Continuing on, we need a motion to approve the notice for publication scheduled to be published for March 3rd in the Wilmington and Richfield Sun. Do I hear a motion for the public notice?
Supple, so moved.
Thank you, Councilmember. And a second?
Whalen, I'll second.
Thank you, Councilmember. And Scott, when you're ready.
Mayor Reagan-Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilmember Supple,
Aye.
Councilmember Hayford O'Leary,
Aye.
Councilmember Troutman,
Aye.
Councilmember Whalen,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Martin,
Aye.
and Councilmember Carter.
Aye.
Excellent. Thanks, Scott. I think the ayes have that one again. Bringing us on to item number 8, the insurance. Brian, were you going to give us a quick overview on that one, or?
So our insurance is through the League of Minnesota Cities. As you can see on the agenda, it's estimated at $2,500. It usually comes in at just slightly less than that, and that cost is split evenly between the cities of Richfield and Bloomington.
No action needed on that one, Brian?
No action needed on that one. That's just a informational item.
Okay. Were there any questions on the insurance topic, or seemed pretty straightforward? All right. Terrific. Well, I'll echo the mayor's comments briefly. Again, thank you, staff, for putting this together. I particularly liked how thorough the breakdown was of the payment and outcomes. It's really cool, and I wish we got more presentations like that all over. So thank you very much for the thoroughness. And with that, I think we can skedaddle. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, Carter.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilmember. Scott?
Mayor Reagan Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilmember Sepple,
Aye.
Councilmember Hayford O'Leary,
Aye.
Councilmember Troutman,
Aye.
Councilmember Whalen, Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Martin,
Aye.
Councilmember Carter.
Aye.
All right. And with that, we stand adjourned. Thank you all so much for your time tonight. Thank you, Sam, for all the work you put into this, and to our folks in Richfield. Have a